Greetings from Queensbury, New York, right next to Lake George, New York, on this beautiful but overcast Juneteenth. I'm back at what's technically my home park, the weird and funky, often neglected Six Flags Great Escape, which last year got a new gravity group coaster called the Bobcat, where the Alpine bobsled, RIP, once stood. This will be my first time here in a couple years, so I'm looking for Bobcat merch. I want to show you some of the weird old Storybook Village remnant decorations here at Great Escape. And, you know, if we can, let's do our best to have a Six Flags day. No promises, but yeah, you're watching, as you know, Peak Merch. Let's go. And behold, the 2024 Gravity Group coaster, the Bobcat, Six Flags Great Escape's first coaster since maybe 2005, and apparently the first wooden coaster in New York since 1999, first new wooden roller coaster. It's short, but it's punchy in the Gravity Group style. I really appreciate the landscaping. Ranger Randy in the queue, Ranger Randy's radio show, talking about Bobcats. So yeah, let's go get a ride, and of course we'll look at the exit merch as well. Bobcat! And yeah, this is sad. I was fortunate to get a ride on Alpine bobsled like the week before it closed, because the park was kind enough to give people an advance notice. But this was one of the last remaining bobsled coasters in the world. Increasingly cumbersome and costly to maintain and invest in. You know, there's the wooden bobsled, flying turns at Knoebels, but yeah, I think they re-themed like a reptilian themed bobsled at King's Dominion. There's one closing in Texas, so RIP Alpine bobsled. I don't think there's any merch for it, but you know I'll be looking. So yeah, let's go get a ride on Comet. And hidden in the back of Great Escape is the Comet. It's true gem, a double out and back classic, and an ace roller coaster landmark. Here's why. An important example of historic coaster preservation. Originally opened at Crystal Beach Park in Ridgeway, Ontario, Canada in 1948. Its design integrated over half the steel structure from earlier Harry Traver designed Cyclone, which closed in 46. This is a PTC, a Philadelphia Toboggan Company Schmeck Classic, with John Allen, two legendary coaster designers. And yeah, it closed in 1989 before the owner of Great Escape purchased it at auction, quickly dismantled and moved the structure to storage. Reconstruction began in 93 and reopened officially in 94 in what is described here as the shadow of the Adirondack Mountains. Really, really great. Back row ride. Let's do it. Yeah, most of this original structure, including the steel latticework in the station, is a Schmeck original. So I think that's pretty cool, you know. When they rebuilt this thing, they modernized a lot of the track, but they kept the Schmeck intact. At least enough Schmeck. And yeah, great ride. Not too rough. Plush. And yeah, we'll keep moving. And what is the Dippin' Dots exclusive Bobcat flavor, you might ask? A wild ride of ultimate brownie batter and chocolate chip cookie dough. Not horribly wild and not horribly unique, but this is a thing that Dippin' Dots people do. They theme the thing to the new ride, so I appreciate it. Light theming. Alright, let's keep moving. So in 1953, Lake George's premier amusement attraction was Storytown Village, USA. But then in the early 80s, Lake George got taken over by Great Escape, which would later be acquired by Six Flags, and they kept a lot of these old weird walkthroughs. such as this Alice in Wonderland. There's a ton of other dioramas, so yeah, we're going through the looking glass together, folks. And I don't know, I don't think it was here last time, but I am looking for some Storytown merch, if we can find any. I really also appreciate how they've kept this, and they didn't have to. I mean, as Great Escape was acquired by Six Flags, and the Warner Brothers Looney Tunes subsumed all the theming, they could have just done away with all of this or done some tacky retrofit, but you know, here we are. Looks like maybe we're in the Mad Hatter's tea area. Everything's very large. We are Alice. Alice is us. Let's see what else we can find as we walk through this incredibly small. Oh, the Tulgey Woods, of course. Yeah, I think you just don't get enough of this old theming anymore, and that's why I like Lake George. There's like around the world fiberglass mini golf with hand-constructed, you know, little, you know, not even animatronic, but mechanized courses and obstacles, and you know, they still keep this. Probably could use a little bit of a refresh, but part of this old style of theming that you just don't see at regional theme parks anymore. There she is, folks, and I appreciate it. I, for one, think could do to have a bit more of this kind of stuff. So yeah, there's the caterpillar again. Oh, the Cheshire Cat has disappeared into this tree, and there's some of the story as well. Here's Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Oh my god, just terrifying. You know, you see these old photos of kids with Mickey Mouse in the 50s and 60s, and his face just looks horrifying, and you know, here we are. So there are still a few places in the world, in the US, where you can find this kind of stuff. Not many, but for now, Great Escape is one of them. And it does raise the question, is this park, a smaller revenue park in the Six Flags Cedar Fair chain, at risk of closing, as so many are? They did just get Bobcat last year. I'm not an amusement insider to the point where I have stats on any of this, but I imagine the revenue is somewhat small, and I don't know how much the land is worth, but I think this could be a destination vacation space once again. And I'm also happy with this staying the way it is, because this is the style of Lake George and Queensbury in this area. Vintage 70s minus theming, that's kind of just charming and takes you back to a time that may have never existed. Alas, just like time, we keep moving. And this is bizarre because we were just at Universal, but amid all of the IP merch that Six Flags has become notorious for, we do have some Jaws 50th stuff, 2 shirts, in fact, and it looks like this mug as well. Let's see if it's actually... No, it doesn't have any 50th branding, but these 2 shirts do, and they're both 30 bucks. So there you go. There is theming for Universal here at Six Flags. Bizarre. And this was down last time, but I am taking a scenic sky ride over the front half of Great Escape. Let's see that big launch sling in the back there. Honestly, I have so much time to kill. Hannah and the puppy are going for a hike. It was like about a 40-minute drive, so I'm just chilling. Plenty of time to hop in and see what other merch we can find. Plenty of time to explore more storybook attractions. Heck, I might even walk over there to Timbertown. Look at these. I didn't even know there were canoes here. Pretty wild. I mean, wild isn't the word, but yeah, this is such a chill day. Thinking about freedom on this Juneteenth and the ability to even go where you want and do what you want is pretty cool, and it's a privilege I don't take lightly. Not to get too mushy or patriotic here, but you know, just saying, you think about these things And yeah, this is a whole circuit, so I'll let you know if we see anything else of note. But other than that, I've got a little less than a 15-minute ride left on this bad boy, so here we are. I'm enjoying it. We passed the old lady who lived in a shoe. I'm reminded at how good the view is, not only of the Storybook Village attractions I don't want to walk up to see, like this thing, but also the merch. I saw a fella walking in here in a Happy Gilmore shirt. Look at this hidden sign for the main gift shop. Oddly only visible from the Skyride or from a service pathway. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this nice little scenic trip, and the sun's not even out, so I'd call it a win. There must be 20 or 30 of these little storybook Storytown houses, and look at this. They're restoring them to their original magic. Don't you love that? The commitment to history, like the right kind of history. Kitchen Americana, not, you know, nationalism and all that stuff. So yeah, pretty charming over here. Looks like there's an antique car ride, Thunder Alley in the distance, as well as this giant launch tower, Sasquatch. I think that's right by the entrance. Maybe we'll give that a go too if the line's not too long. But first, let's visit the cobbler and the baker. Yeah, why not? Must be under 54 or accompanied by a child. Alright, I'm not accompanied by a child, so I will just show you the cobbler's house. I'm not fully walk in. I'm aware of the optics of this, by the way. And the baker as well. Yes, cool. Alright, let's see what else we can find. Not even sure I recognize all of these storybook fairy tales here, but nonetheless, this must be Cinderella, right, with the pumpkin and this guy. So yeah, we'll see what else we can find. Is this Pinocchio, you think, or Jonah and the Whale? I don't know how biblical they get up here at the foot of the Adirondacks, but I know I do like it. This is like the whaler's shack over here too, or the mariner's shack. Not much really going on inside. Yeah, I think that's most of these. We're approaching Coaxal Canyon here in the little western village, but yeah, I'm gonna give this another look-see and head toward the front of the park. And this is really sweet. Wild Windy Bill McKay, 1957 to 2007. Sheriff here in Ghost Town for 50 years. He looks like he was a real dude. And the Wabash Cannonball song lyrics. Yeah. Going back to the Storytown days, Marshal Wild Windy Bill McKay kept law and order in Ghost Town from 1957 to 2007. That looks like his outfit right there. The Honorary Marshall. This is so sweet. Aw, I had no idea this was here. And here's a biography of Marshal Wild Windy Bill McKay. Began his career at The Great Escape in '57 when it was still Storytown, USA. For 5 decades he played the role of Ghost Town's lawman. Incredible. The Marshal, as he was known, was beloved by many throughout the state of New York and around the country. During the late 60s, he performed on a Saturday morning TV show called The Ghost Town Corral, which aired on WRGB, which was a CBS affiliate station in Albany. Comic strip. President Truman named McKay an honorary U.S. Marshal for his work with the Roy Rogers Band. He retired from Great Escape in 2007, passed away in 2011 at the age of 90. So they honor his legacy here. That's really something. Again, Great Escape, I would say, has perspective and a sense of respect for its history that no other park in the Six Flags chain that I've encountered truly does. Not even Magic Mountain with its filming location. So Something to think about. Pretty special. Glad we found this. Worth coming to Ghost Town, even though the rides are down or really bad. So, and in the spirit of honoring history, there is some ride merch for the classics here. We've got the Comet. We've also got a pin for the Outlaw, that big launcher. Flat ride here. But look at this. It's got keychains for Storytown, USA. And this is really special. A collectible pin set for Storytown as well. Featuring at least 4 of its attractions, and yeah, that's really something. Might have to pick that up. Let's see what else we can find. Some more Great Escape drinkware here. Alright, and then of course these. We got some hoodies, some visors. Okay. And here's some more actual Six Flags specific. I guess they're trying to do the moose thing. They have a moose meet and greet, like ask the moose anything kind of thing. So, I was there right 5 minutes before the show started, and I was the only one, so who knows if the moose is bound to last, but alright, I think we're making our way out, folks. And we'd be remiss to not talk about Porcelino, created by 17th century Italian sculptor Pietro Pacca. The original, of course, only 200 replicas in the world, is in Florence. I've had so many friends photograph the real one, but you could just come up here to Lake George, New York, and see Porcelino at the entrance to Great Escape, if you were so inclined, of course. And real quick, I've just got to tell you how out of control the Gummy Market has been getting over the past few years. Okay, giant witch tongue, sure, why not? But then it gets crazier from there. I've seen the little trolley gummy burgers when I was a kid, but now we've got gummy burger, we've got gummy breakfast, we've got gummy donut and cupcake, and then the coup de grace here. Gummy giant turkey leg. I'm not even going to flip this thing around and show you what it looks like because it is vile. I'd much prefer a gummy hot dog. And let me just say, as far as exit gift shops are concerned, this one's got it all. I've got the Bobcat merch here, which is smart because if you think about getting something earlier, but you're too tired to backtrack, you can always pick it up later. Even a lot of the big parks don't do this, so yeah. Looks like they've actually got more varieties of Bobcat shirt than they did at the Bobcat Exit gift shop. They've got a long sleeve of that one I'm not fond of, and they've got a lot more Bobcat plush here as well. In fact, there's a whole table of them just behind me, so yeah. There's the Nano Coaster. That's what it looks like built. There you go, the Bobcat. And it appears there's actually a few different graphics of the Storytown, USA artwork, as evidenced here. Check it out. New merch bodes well for refurbishment, is what I'll say. But also they know they had something special. They knew they had something special when they acquired the park in the 80s, and it's cool to see all this stuff. So I'm just gonna take a quick pass, see what else I can find, and in the storied classic fashion, I will exit through the gift shop. Now the Comet, which lacks an exit gift shop, has much more merch for it here in the exit gift shop, including this Nano Coaster and even a t-shirt. Look at that, just like a classic old tacky coaster t-shirt. No stats, no full bleed graphic, just like a pretty basic but effective front graphic t-shirt. And then they've also got one of these style for the whole park too. It's one of those if you know you know thing. I think Coaster Candy there is doing a lot of heavy lifting, but yeah, I think in a similar fashion people aren't paying attention, so that's kind of a thing as well. But here we are, and we're heading out. This is interesting. The Great Escape shirts here say established in 1954, which is when Storyland opened, not Great Escape. But I guess they assumed the property and they assumed the licensing and ownership too, so they're allowed to say that. I just think, it's weird. Honoring an anniversary for something you didn't experience is weird to me. But who knows? Maybe the original owner of Great Escape grew up near here. I have no idea. I'm not a historian in that respect. I'm just talking trash. Well, Canadian geese, I'm sure you'd agree this was a great day at Great Escape. And, it proves that you can have a legacy park that doesn't really beat you over the head with the Six Flags branding, that doesn't even really have any sort of quote-unquote e-ticket standout hyper thrill coaster. They've got Comet and now they've got Bobcat as kind of their two best coasters here. Coaster collection's mid, beyond those, mid to lesser. So maybe it's not bringing the thuzies out or the real adrenaline junkies, but it is bringing out the families. I saw people waiting in line for those swan boats. I saw people waiting in line for that sky ride. And I saw people really exploring and kids, with that sense of play and their families. People who you can tell have been coming here as a vacation place for decades since they were kids. So it's all pretty special, and I'm glad it's here. And Lake George and the Adirondacks are a really special part of the country. So I will always come back. I'm proud this is technically my home park for my Six Flags season pass. And for now, I think we're going to call it a day, see what else we can find in town. But you know the drill. I've been Just, you've been patient, and you've just watched Peak Quack Merch. Bye-bye now.